achieve success, and we resign ourselves to mediocrity, and we get swallowed into failure and discouragement, and it becomes sometimes so deep that we can't see the possibilities that our lives could be. I mean, your life doesn't have to be your current life 30 days from now, but most people can't see that. And the number one reason is this word called grit. Researchers say the number one defining factor of whether we become successful or average is whether we have grit. Grit is the ability to stay true to your vision and not dilute it when you get laughed at. Grit is the ability to try an innovation, experience failure, and to say, I'm going to continue, and I'm actually going to learn and use that experience to get me closer on my path to the mountaintop. I mean, what the ordinary person sees as failure, the master simply sees as part of the process of refining your craft. So, number one, you've got to have grit. You've got to literally, when you get knocked down, force yourself to get back up, because then you start to develop a new brain. Yes, you develop a new neural pathway. Yes, you develop new muscle memory. And yes, you develop confidence. Remember that every time you get knocked down, it's an opportunity for you to develop more confidence, develop more experience, develop more inner power. Okay, every time you do something that you didn't feel like doing, like getting back up after you failed, or staying true to yourself after you've been laughed at or told it can't be done, literally, you become more powerful. And every single time you don't feel like persisting, and you do, you take back your power to the thing that you gave your resistance to. Give the extra 1%. Leadership doesn't happen when things are easy. Leadership is about how you show up when everyone else feels like going home at the end of the day. Leadership occurs on the extra mile. Leadership occurs when everyone has laughed at your idea. Leadership occurs when you feel like giving up and you reach into yourself and you pull out what Carmichael, who is Lance Armstrong's coach, said, the final 1%. He said what made Lance Armstrong great was everyone else gave up at the end, but he kept that final 1% in reserve. And when everyone else was exhausted and everyone else felt like giving up, Lance Armstrong reached deep within, and that final 1% is what made him world class. Ultimately, life is pretty short. And before we know it, every one of us is going to be dust. Mm-hmm. And so at the end, it's not the shiny toys that matter. It's not the title on the business card. It's not your station in society. It's
not your net worth.
It's not your net worth.
Darn.
It's what did we stand for? Mm-hmm. Who did we become? Did we influence children? Did we lead by example? Did we have an impact in the world? Mm-hmm. And in many ways, that's what the Secret Letters is all about. It's about how do you do great work that matters? How do you overcome your fears? How do you take risks? How do you find happiness? But ultimately, how do you live a life that at the end of your life, you're proud of it? The 20-20-20 rule. So you literally want to build a morning ritual around the 5 a.m. club. This is so important. Please, please try it. The first 20 minutes, 5 to 5:20, on exercise. Exercise is a complete game changer. You know, please remember that the way you feel when you first wake up isn't necessarily the way you're going to feel 20 minutes later, not even 10 minutes later. So when you get up at 5 o'clock, the first thing you want to do is you want to run on the spot, or you want to invest $5 in a skipping rope and skip, or get to the gym, or go for a swim, or start running by having your running shoes right by the bed so you run out the door pretty quickly without any excuses. What I'm suggesting to you, first 20 minutes in exercise. Why? Because it'll release dopamine, the motivational neurotransmitter. So even if you don't feel like getting up out of bed, you will take control of your neurochemistry and you will feel strong. It will release serotonin, which makes you feel happy. I mean, you know, because you're exercising, you'll feel much happier. It'll shift your mood pretty much automatically. Why else should you exercise? You'll boost your metabolic rate. You'll have more energy, even if you don't feel like it. Then the second 20 minutes, remember the rule is, the morning ritual is the 20-20-20 rule. Second 20 minutes, this is 5:20 to 5:40. You review your plan, you review your daily schedule, you review your goals. That will give you focus, it'll give you inspiration, it will give you passion, because the secret of passion is knowing your daily and yearly purpose, and even your lifetime purpose. And then from 5:40 to 6 o'clock, this is the final 20 in the 20-20-20 rule. From 5 to 6 o'clock, you learn. Because as you know, Education is inoculation against disruption. The world belongs to the learners. As you know more, you can achieve more. As you invest, I'll put it to you this way, to double your income, triple your rate of learning. So that final 20, read ebooks, listen to audiobooks, watch TED Talks, watch inspirational videos or training videos. Pull out a hard copy of a book and study it and read it, because as you know more, you can literally start to see around corners. Ladies and gentlemen, every time you blame your background, every time you blame your boss, every time you blame your clients, every time you blame the culture, you are literally giving away your power to influence. You are giving away your power to be the change you want to see in the world, as Gandhi said. I think it's an impotent way to live to say it's because of other people and it's because of circumstances that I'm not playing my best game. My life changed when I realized a simple idea, which is life is a mirror. And life gives us not what we want. Life gives us who we are. And it's amazing what happens as you walk out in the world and as you begin to take responsibility for leading without title, for adding more value, for inspiring people more, for innovating where you're planted, for building relationships, for being the nicest person that you know. What begins to happen through an organization and through your life? Absolute personal responsibility.
I think we've all observed a lot of people who they love reading the books. They love showing up at the courses. They do all the online training and nothing ever changes. And they say, well, I don't know why it doesn't change, why my life doesn't change, why my thinking doesn't change, why my performance doesn't change, why my relationships don't change. Well, it's because ideas don't work if you don't execute on them. So if you look at the great business builders, you look at any great performer, one thing that makes them great is their grit. One thing that makes them great is their hunger to practice. One thing that makes them great is they are willing to sacrifice. I mean, yes, they're passionate, but did you know the root of the word passion is suffering? You've got to be willing to suffer for your vision. You've got to be willing to suffer to reach BIW, best in world. You've got to be willing to suffer the ridicule and laughter of your critics and your cynics to get to a place called world class. Small wins matter. I mean, we sometimes think that an epic life occurs one sunny Friday afternoon when the stars line up and something revolutionary occurs. And what I'm suggesting to you with great love and great respect is a great life is built not by revolution. A great life is built by evolution. Small and steady wins the race. What you do every day is far more important than what you do once every decade. I want you to really think about that idea. What you do every day is simply your life in miniature. And as you live every single day, so you're crafting your life. What you do over the next hours is really building your future. And if you can just get, and I can just get every single pocket of 24 hours right as best as we humanly can, the rest of our life is going to take care of itself. So small wins matter. The moment in front of the customer where the pull was to go average and you become merchant of wow sets you up for the next day of a way of being of wow. The little win with your family when you feel like watching TV sets you up for another win the next day. A little win of getting up at 5 o'clock and running your morning routine sets you up for a habit of a 5 a.m. club morning routine. Small daily improvements over time will lead you to stunning results.
The second thing that I did personally to beat procrastination was the 30-day procrastination diet. Tattoo that one, the 30-day procrastination diet. All you do is you go into your whatever program you run your schedule from. You've got a whole month, for example, whatever month that you want to run it. Do it right now is really what you want to do. You don't want to procrastinate on this. And every single day for 30 days, you pick one thing each day that you've been resisting. So let's say you start off with, usually you don't make your bed. As simple as that sounds. Make your bed on the first day. Second day for procrastination diet, let's say you don't like exercising, you write down day 2, go for a walk around the block. Day 3, you give a speech, or you find a way to do some public speaking if you've been resisting that. Day 4, let's say you've been resisting writing your will, you write down your will. Maybe the 5th day of your 30-day procrastination diet, you forgive someone. For 30 days, you write down a thing each day that you've been putting off, and you do it. Now, here is the key. Research is showing that willpower is actually a muscle, and a lot of it's about the brain research that people are really realizing how to run the brain in an ideal way. And so as you start to do what you've been resisting, you literally start to rewire the way your brain works, and you actually build more willpower so you can destroy procrastination. But the real big idea is this. When you do the thing you've been resisting, you literally take back the power you gave to the thing that you were resisting. And the more you start to do what you've been resisting, you start to become more powerful. You rewire your brain, your willpower starts to grow, you start to unleash more and more energy, you feel more and more confident. So this 30-day procrastination diet is an amazing thing that I did. At the end of these 30 days, I felt so strong, I had so much energy, and almost like I felt there's nothing on my goal list I cannot achieve. Definitely it'll work for you. Thousands of years ago, what kept us alive was we would stay within our safe harbor of the known. We would stay within the same group of people. We would behave in the same ways, and that consistency allowed us to survive in a world of tremendous uncertainty. But what it's done is literally biologically and neurologically, it's hardwired us to avoid taking risks, to avoid stretching, to stay within a comfort zone. And it no longer serves us in the world we're in. As a matter of fact, the clearest route to obsolescence is to do the things you did yesterday. So the second idea to be more productive, play out on the wire. It comes from Papa Wallenda, the great high wire walker, and what he said was, life is lived on the wire, the rest is just waiting. And my challenge to you to become more productive, to get your spark back so you get more done, so you have more energy, is to start to put yourself out there. Start to get more rejected. Take your goals and amp them up 10 times what they were yesterday. Do the things that frighten you. Get brilliant at being uncomfortable. Literally institutionalize risk into your life so you do the things that you would never have thought you did. And here's the thing. The more little risks you take every day, the more you grow in your power. Because everything that you fear, everything that you are currently resisting right now, you've literally given your power to. You've given your confidence to. So to get more energy, so you're more productive, start doing the things that you've been resisting. Start taking some risks consciously. Do hard things. I was just in Switzerland a number of weeks ago in a beautiful ski resort or ski town called Lausanne. And I went to the top of one of these Swiss Alps, and I'd never been up that high before, and my ski instructor was with me, and I said, "We're going up there?" And he said, "Yeah, we're going up there." And when I got to the top, I was frightened, and I don't know if you ski, but I was so scared I went right back into, beginner snowplow position, and I was clinging to the mountain pretty much. And he told me 2 things I want to share with you. Number 1, he said, "Robin, lean into your fear. Lean into your fear." And number 2, he said, "Robin, commit to the mountain." And what he was saying is, by actually leaning into the mountain, leaning into, the scariness and the fear, what would happen is I'd actually get more balance, and it was actually safer, and I'd actually get some edges on my skis. And actually clinging to safety was more dangerous. And the point I'd offer to you is, the seduction of safety is often more dangerous than the perception of uncertainty. And sometimes, or no, not sometimes, if you're making the right goals and the right move, leaning into your fear and committing to that goal is the safest thing you could possibly do, because otherwise you get to the last hour of your last day and you say, "You know what, I never expressed my potential, I never did anything great." So this second point is really do hard things. The seat of our self-discipline and our willpower has been found to be in a part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex is pretty cool, the brain can grow. You don't have the brain you were born into, you have the brain that you have developed. And neuroscientists have realized that the brain is very much like a muscle. They call it, this neuroplasticity. And so if you do the right things, you actually can develop more density in your brain, more gray matter, and you can actually build a better brain. And so the part of the brain responsible for willpower is the prefrontal cortex, PFC. And here's what neuroscientists have found. They found that if you develop and strengthen the prefrontal cortex, automatically you're going to have more willpower. And so by doing difficult things, by pushing yourself to your edges, by going to your limits really do expand. And so all masters, all uber ultra performers choose a life that is difficult and challenging versus a life that is comfortable and a life of ease. I mean, your payoff and your rewards and your growth and your mastery and your success lies when you go to the places that scare you, when you do difficult things, when you take the difficult projects on, when you read the difficult books, when you run longer than you've ever run, when you try new things that stretch you. That is how you get more willpower. That's how you become more muscular, more muscularity in terms of your willpower. And that is how you take your mindset, your potential, and your life to a whole new level.